Hello and welcome to the Blueprint Roundtable. I'm your host, Matt Lewis, joined by Chrissy Micromanagement Zano and Chuck Hypeman Brotman. The Blueprint Roundtable is an ongoing series with our team and an occasional guest. And in each session, we ask the team a simple question related to trends in recruiting, talent, and go-to-market for discussion and debate. This week's question, and Chuck, we're going to go to you first. What is a taboo topic in recruiting that no one addresses directly? The clock starts now.
Yeah, it's a taboo topic. Well, I don't know if this is taboo in the sense that nobody wants to, kind of touch the topic, in public settings per se, but it is something that I think can get a little shady. And I know we certainly as a firm have tried to stay clear of this, and that is, um, a lot of recruiting firms, particularly in markets that are more challenging, spend a lot of cycles trying to kind of negotiate, you know, split deals with each other behind the scenes. And the notion is, is straightforward enough. When someone has a relationship with, you know, X talent per se, and they feel that they're high quality, a lot of firms, look for opportunities to get these candidates referred into other firms that are working with other clients and to get compensation from that. And, you know, I think I don't know if it's how taboo it is, but I don't think it's a great practice for either hiring companies or for candidates, right? That as a firm, we've really sought to be clear that, we recruit for the companies we have direct relationships with. Certainly if another firm shares with me, a deep candidate profile and I have a relationship with someone like that, I'll make a referral. In general, we're not going to seek out referral fees, but if there's fees offered, we're not going to decline to get paid them. But, a lot of behind the scenes energy on kind of negotiating terms and splits around candidates. I don't think it does a lot of good for candidates or for hiring managers. And there's a certain lack of transparency to it all that I'd say kind of might make it taboo, or again, something that just should be discouraged a little bit more in recruiting in general.
Yeah. I mean, I have my own like topic of taboo, but just like piggybacking off that, I just think anytime you're doing like partnership with someone or you're trying to do things to source additional income, if it's ever done in a way that comes across as you're trying to be lazy is not the right word, but like I'm trying to, you know, come along on your coattails and make your money without really doing anything in a way that's not super valuable to you. Or in the inverse, it's like, hey, I'm sending you something. It's so easy. This is why you should give me such a large percentage, right? It's kind of insulting. Because it's like if it was that easy, then we take those deals all day long, right? But recruiting is very challenging. It's not even just about like finding people, right? Or even finding clients. It's helping clients really establish their interview process and get the candidate and the client all the way to the end, right? To go through it
Yep.
systematically. And so I think, you know, when you look at these deals and whatnot, people are always wanting to go on it when it's hot in recruiting, but they don't always appreciate how challenging it can be. And so they try to ask for a lot more of a piece of that pie, which is unfair at best. I think one of the other
I mean,
things
for
is,
me,
well, go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, sometimes it makes me laugh when, very infrequently, I've had, even, individuals and candidates, ask, what kind of referral terms we have, and sort of, insinuate that, given our business, like it's selfish to be, asking for referrals without compensation, and it makes me laugh because I mean prior to getting into recruiting, I spent the last 15 years in my career in various roles where I made referrals all the time, just as part of being a professional, and never remotely occurred to me to ask for anything back, right? So it's an
Yeah.
interesting dynamic to me, both with other firms and candidates, that um, that there are a lot of folks who kind of think that way, and I
Yeah.
just I just again I don't think it's in
Yeah.
the best interest of talent, or of course hiring companies that are paying you to go do something very specific. And if you're not doing that work either direct or with subcontractors who are really outrunning a search based on a spec you share, I'm just not sure how quality the work can be, and ultimately whether those connections that made are going to, yield the best experiences on both sides.
When your intent is to make extra money or a nice piece of cash without really doing any work, and you want that model to be continuous, it shows in your pitch. And so not the best way to pitch those things, because money is not that easy to make. It doesn't have to be as hard as we make it, but it's not that easy. I think the other thing is like this concept of paying candidates to interview is, I understand that, as a society, we have not done a good job at treating candidates well when it comes to hiring. And I think the market has definitely done a 180 where it is a candidate market. And even with a challenging time, I don't think that that's ever personally going to change for a really long time. It's because of COVID and because of how important mental health has been, and because everyone realized like I actually can live off a lot less and see how much happier I am in not being in a toxic environment or like a stressful environment that's unnecessary, right? And with remote work, there's so many more options. So I think we're going to have that for a really long time, which is not a bad thing, right? But it's forcing old archaic behaviors to change. But I don't think paying candidates to interview drives the right. And like, I don't really know what the outcome is. If someone's genuinely interested in a job, they're going to interview. If they're not, if you have to pay them to be interested, sorry if this is like crass, but that's dumb. Like who wants a candidate to be interviewing with, I'm already in, 10 meetings a day. I don't want to be interviewing someone that I had to pay to get here. Right. Like I understand the intent, but it does not align with the outcome that you're trying to get. And so I think that's just, it's not the right way to get to that desired, state, right? Like I would change your messaging and how you're representing the company and qualifying candidates to help have them, go through interest. But I don't think.
Well, look, Chris, I think if a firm is doing that, I mean, if you're paying candidates to take interviews with your clients, you should certainly share that with your client, right? If they want to take conversations under those grounds because they think that somebody has such a stellar track record, that's fine, I suppose. I certainly wouldn't have wanted interviews lined up with me knowing that candidates were being paid to talk to me. So
it's just
those are both really good. Chrissy, I agree with that sentiment. Do you have something else before? I was going to add one thing before we conclude.
Oh, I was just going to say, I just think in order to fix things in hiring and recruiting, we just keep adding things like that make it more challenging and ridiculous. Like, why not just have a conversation with someone and ask them where they're at and see what they're interested in? Like the simplest things, like people refuse to do. It's like mind blowing to me, and if you don't want to have those conversations, don't have time, I don't know why you're in recruiting. For real. Go ahead.
Yeah, the other thing I was going to say, I think it's not a taboo topic, and we certainly don't do it, thankfully. But I think it gives recruiters a bad name in certain cases. But I, in a former life, did work with a firm to make some placements, and it turns out that firm on those employees' 1-year anniversary was calling them, trying to pitch them on new opportunities. And for me, the fact that firm was setting a reminder, this is their 1-year anniversary start date. And I saw these emails, but because they went to 2 candidates that were on my team, that were basically like, hey, congrats on your 1 year. By the way, if you or anybody are open to new opportunities, here's some new roles we took on. I just found that to be a schmuck move, for lack of a better term. I think it's very underhanded, and I think it's part of the reason that some recruiting firms have bad reputations out there. Yeah. Again, thankfully we don't do that, but that was 7 years ago, and it still rubs me the wrong way today.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, those types of firms are the ones that will advertise their candidate database. Y'all, I've got some news for you. Candidate databases don't matter because everyone's changing jobs. They don't matter. And so if you're hiring a recruiting firm that's like, I've got 10,000 candidates in here, like half of those are outdated. They're not going through and updating all that stuff. They haven't talked to some of those people in years. So if you don't know, like, what's your tech and what's your strategy to reaching out to people today, every single time I have a new search, that's what you should
Yeah,
be looking at, like candidate
totally.
databases are just, they get outdated. I mean, even we obviously keep our resumes for people we manage, but like we have to be really strategic in how we use that because those things don't stay updated, right? So, all that to
Taboo,
say, that's
baby.
kind of a sign
Taboo.
of what that looks like. Taboo. No, no, no.
All right, perfect. Well, we're at time. I appreciate both of the insights from both of you. As always, great conversation. Look forward to following up maybe a year from now on this one later. So,
All right. Until
All right,
next
bye, everyone.
time.
see y'all.
All right. Bye.
Bye.